Hey everybody, Claire Chancellor here. Today I want to share with you the mistakes that you can make with manifesting. These mistakes I wish I had known from day one when I started manifesting, because the amount of times that this generated stress and kept me in a loop and wasted my time doing the things that would delay my manifestation. Oh, such a big deal to know. So right now, I want to share with you the mistakes that you need to avoid to make sure that your manifestation comes in the way that you want it to. Now, we know that whatever your intuition has sparked within you to want and desire is really important. It has sparked your attention to say, yes, I wonder what it would be like to have that. Because your intuition also knows that you've had a pattern in the past of keeping yourself small. You've had a pattern there where you've doubted yourself, given away your energy, and your intuition is doing everything it can in its power to get you to come into your self-worth, to come into that personal freedom. And so by dangling this carrot, going, oh, you could have this, you now are required to have a look at what is stopping you from having that. It's very sophisticated. So again, I want to share with you the 6 common mistakes that I wish I'd known years ago, and knowing these will help you speed up your success with what you're manifesting. Now, when we start our manifesting journey, we often think about what we want, or what do you want to do, what do you want to have. So often we forget to consider, who do you want to be? If you were to have that beautiful home, the travel, the relationships, what shifts within you with your identity? Because the manifesting journey is all about you elevating, evolving into that version of you that your intuition is calling. It knows your purpose. It knows the incredible gifts that you've got to share with this world. And it's like, awesome. Who do you want to be? Now, I say that because when we look at the mistakes with manifesting, you will notice that there's going to be a bit of a mismatch or a contrast between who you become, who you want to be, versus how these mistakes hold you back from becoming that version of you. So let's have a look here. The number one mistake that you can make with manifesting is getting locked into your mind about how it can show up. Getting really specific that, it needs to be this and it needs to be that number. If you are getting into that controlling state, then you are on the path to burnout. You've gone into that part of you that's, controlling the plan, hustling, exhaustion, burnout, pushing a little harder, giving a little bit more, has to be this way. And if you're on that trajectory of worried about how it needs to come in, then you're also moving away from what you want. The motivation when you get controlling like that, or controlling about the how, it means that there's a limitation still sitting there about the struggle and trying to get away from that. And maybe when you were growing up and things were struggle-full and chaotic, having the control of what you got to eat that day, or having the control of your schedule, or having the control of what you got to do was the thing that gave you that sense of freedom. And so now you sort of move that into your current manifesting to say, well, that gave me that dopamine fix, that gave me the thing that made me feel good. And in fact, there's an undercurrent there of anxiety that's holding that in place, that's keeping that control element, the how, the steps, all of that, that's getting you to pull away from what you want to manifest. Now, when we have a look at the spiritual side of manifesting, manifesting requires you to be in that present moment. And it's in those present moments, right, when you start to notice the feathers and the angel numbers and oh my gosh, you're immediately out of your mind and more in the present moment within your intuition. And that's where it gets you to have that spark of inspiration to call the friend, or to take that opportunity, or to make that call. This is your intuition doing its job. And in fact, when your intuition is working the way that it needs you to be in that present moment, you're also tuned in, tapped in to the higher self that is looking at the bigger picture and providing your intuition with the how. Your logical mind has been sensing, seeing, touching, tasting, smelling your reality, and it knows the experiences that you've had in the past that created failure or rejection or abandonment, and it holds on to that to avoid doing all of those things that you did in the past that created the negative consequences. It then looks at the future and says, oh my gosh, that thing when we paired up with someone and it failed and da 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 da. This is all the ego trying to keep you in old patterns and in the controlling state. So you need to really be mindful that when you are manifesting, you're staying in that present moment. And the fun thing with the present moment is it lifts up your energy, and then it allows in the next present moment, and then the next present moment, and then the next present moment. This is how you speed up your manifesting. It's incredible. And then those moments where you go think about the past, think about the future, it's like your intuition is on hold, like, okay, when is she coming back? We've got some things to do. So again, get out of the how. Number 2, obsessing, where is it? Where is my manifesting? Where is the thing that I want? Yeah, this is now going into scarcity and lack. This is now getting into the mind, getting into the worry. And you may say to yourself, well, I've done all of the work and I'm looking out for the signs and I'm doing all of the things and the processes and it's still not here. One way you can get around that is, again, to continue asking for a sign, to say, yes, am I on the right path? And to look out for the feathers, look out for the angel numbers. You can get a tarot reading to be able to connect into your higher self, to be able to say, okay, what's in my blind spots? Why is this, what are the delays? What do I need to know? And of course, you can also get some coaching to zap away those limiting beliefs that actually stop you from manifesting what you want. You can zap that frustration and the impatience and the waiting and the relying on other people, all of those layers that block you from having what you want. You can clear that block and then make the invisible visible. So again, if you're obsessing, where is it? Be mindful of that, because you're also on that cosmic journey where you might have done the inner work and time just needs to shift everybody on the chessboard of life to line things up. Okay, number 3, using positive affirmations that don't feel true. So it's common for people to use affirmations when they're manifesting. They will state things like, I am enough, I am wealthy. But when you get caught in the affirmation that doesn't feel true to you and your values, you're now generating a buffer of energy where it's like, oh, I am trying to think of one that's relevant to say, okay, I am rich. And in fact, it is one of my values, and I name my dog Richie. My riches come to me. So this is not applicable to me. But let's say I had that affirmation, yes, I am rich, and it doesn't match who I am. My guts are going to start getting churned up, or headaches, shoulder pain, tension, because I'm actually triggering myself into almost like bullying. When somebody tells you, you're dumb, it's like, oh, wait a minute. No, that's not me. And so the nervous system then braces for tension, hold on, that doesn't match who I believe I am. So you want to be really mindful when you're using affirmations about the ones that work for you. On that, I have a particular client where I did use the word rich, and they did have that rejection of that word because they had associated rich to a snobby relative. And it was this rejection, no, I'm not that. And I had to be mindful about the semantics, which I've since learned after coaching for so many years, that it's use the client's words. And her particular word was wealthy. So you really need to make sure that your affirmations match who you want to be, who you already believe yourself to be. so that there isn't the rejection. And we covered this early on when we spoke about beliefs. If you believe you're the coffee drinker, and you can affirm, yes, I am the coffee drinker, then your body, your intuition is like, yep, let's keep doing that. But the bigger things that you want, they don't match who you believe yourself to be, and it will trigger uncertainty, controlling, scarcity, lack. So really be mindful about those affirmations. We spoke about this with beliefs like, yes, I want what I want. I might want the riches, I might want the wealth, but I also don't want the risk of being like that relative who's horrible. So we're hitting up against the limitations. Okay, so if you are somebody who likes to use affirmations, don't use a full stop. And what I mean by that, the statement, I am rich, change it to a question mark, which invites the universe to answer that question. So, how can it get any better? When you start to invite the intuition and the universe to dance the dance with you, how can it get any better? And it's like, yes, here's the good car park. Yes, here's the sale for the thing that you said you wanted. Yes. And it's like, yes, how can it get any better? This is one of the most powerful ways that you can manifest, because you are not limiting it anymore. You are opening to all possibility. Your energy expands. It's fabulous. Okay, another way to make a mistake with your manifesting. This was hard for me to learn. It was very good to learn, but manifesting for other people, a big no-no. And let me explain why. So often when people start their manifesting journey, they often have a relationship with people where they are very giving, serving, helping, but they also ignore their own needs. They also look and have a relationship from childhood, like if that person's okay, then I'll be okay. And so we're operating from a place of scarcity and lack, putting yourself second, and manifesting from that limited point of view. Yes, it is great to be of service, to help, to do all of the things. But if you think about your own journey with manifesting, your journey with personal development, you may consider back then when you started that journey that you kind of either hit rock bottom, felt stuck like you were in cement, going in circles and not making progress. There was a point in which your motivation elevated, right? Your motivation got triggered, like, this has to change. There has to be more to life. And with that motivation, you then sought out the coaching, the healing, the steps, the way to improve your life in a way that mattered to you. Now, somebody who hasn't reached that moment of like, like somebody who hasn't reached that crisis point, and it doesn't have to be a crisis, but that they don't actually have the motivation to shift. And in fact, the more that they stay kind of plateaued, they know that they can tug on your heartstrings and you'll come in and do it for them. And what I've seen with clients is that when you start reducing that whole motivation where they should get in and help and they should fix and they should want other people to be better, what happens is their resistance to putting themselves first, all of that drops. Now they're showing up in those relationships where there is more conversation, more joy, more connection. And then they start to be able to relate to that person that they're manifesting for in a whole different light, because it's now a collaboration instead of being a little bit condescending and putting yourself above these other people and going in to fix and rescue. So manifesting for other people, you need to have a look at your motivation for why you're doing that. And yes, you can definitely send good energy to people. You can definitely get in there and help people learn how to fish. Like that saying, don't just hand them a fish, teach them how to fish. Be there to uplift them. But if you're going in to rescue them because it makes you feel good, you want to check in with that. You want to check in with your comfort with other people being uncomfortable, because a lot of the time people need to get uncomfortable to make those changes for themselves. So yeah, no manifesting for other people. Sharing your big goals with unsupportive people. Ooh. Now, what you want is sacred, right? What you want to create has probably not been done before in the way that you want to do it, the way that you want to elevate into that evolution of who you want to be. Now, these particular intuitive impulses about what you want to create is precious. And I often consider my manifestations a little bit, I know it sounds weird, but like a pregnancy. If I wouldn't trust them to touch my baby, I'm not going to trust them with my manifestation that I'm creating and bringing to this world. I know from my journey, when I had said, yes, I want to go and create this particular career and go and do this particular thing, yeah, my family has no. There were all of these judgments, which could have put a lot of doubt in my mind. It could have created, well, it did actually, created a level of unsteadiness, like, will they still accept me? Will I still belong to the family? Can I actually do this thing? I had to work out about why I would put their agenda ahead of my own. So many times when people start to manifest and create that beautiful, rich life that they want, that the people down that you left on the path back here start to judge and want to pull you back down to their level, because that's all they've known, and that's all they've known you to be. And by you shifting, changing, it starts to bring up their insecurities about what's possible for them and why they didn't take those steps and all of the regret and everything. So people would prefer to pull you down than celebrate. And that's actually one of the number one reasons why we created Elevate and Evolve, was that community to celebrate, to cheer you on, like, yes, how can it get any better? So we did explore this within the belief night, that your tribe, the old friends, the old family's way of being, how to be accepted in the group, what to avoid, their rules are all just beliefs. And if you are somebody who's had a belief, a really strong belief sitting there that you need to still accept, be belonged, fit in, then you are still conforming to their ways, which is completely fine. But you really want to be careful then about who you're becoming and what that means within the relationship. So like we spoke about with the belief night, if you're still have that belief, like, I'm not safe on my own, and your family still expect you to be codependent and fix and need and help, then they're going to be triggered if you start to move away, because they rely on you to be in that role. They expect you to still, do what every other generation has done before about what we tolerate and how we be. And this is a really, really, really big instinctive belief that sits there to conform, to belong, to be accepted. And truth be told, people will actually reject that promotion so that they fit into the tribe. So it's a really interesting dynamic, and you have to look at what it costs you. So again, the mistake with manifesting, checking in, do you really want to share your manifestation with family, with friends who are likely to put doubt in your mind instead of asking you questions with curiosity? Okay, the next one. All right, manifesting pain for your ex. I'm assuming you could already get the sense of humor, like, how tempting is it to, want to send pain and hurt and struggle their way after the breakup that you've had. And I've got to say that what you put out there is only going to be multiplied and mirrored back to you. So whenever you're starting to think about wanting to manifest pain and suffering for other people, you are dropping your energy down into that stress, into scarcity, lack, anger, resentment, all of the things. And this is where we need to have a look at the powerlessness, the anger, what's going on that's dropped your energy, the injustice about the way that they broke up with you. That relationship would have taught you something about you, your boundaries, what you stand for. That relationship would have assisted you in, again, becoming that next version of you. But so often our mind hooks into the pain and the problems and the struggle and how dare they. And that definitely needs attention when it comes to that personalized approach to check in. Okay, why are you in that obsessive loop? What's going on? Where's the scarcity? Where's the lack? Because the more that you try to manifest pain and suffering for the other person, you're just playing in that trap with them. So yeah, stop wishing and waiting for something to be different with them or for them, and start to turn your focus on the things that you want. We spoke about this within the rehearsal part of manifesting. Put up there the vision wall of what that next level of you is going to be, the travel, the things that you couldn't do when you were in that relationship with that person. Start to elevate your energy, to put on the good music, to get out of that stuck state. And yes, you cannot just toxic positivity push it down, but do what you can to elevate, to come out of that, that heaviness. And of course, we can see, start to ask for the signs, the synchronizations. How can this get any better? Start to appreciate the things that are important to you. Now, this relationship, as I've shared, will have helped you move along that trajectory of becoming that next level of you, the next level of the traveler, the homeowner, the career shifter, the award-winning author, whatever it is that you want to become. It's like, yes, those hard-hitting lessons have taught you the strength, the resilience that you need to become that next version of you. So you do feel into that expansive energy to know that, yes, if I can work through that, I can work through any challenge, I can open any door, I have the confidence to take a risk, I have the confidence to go do that thing, the public speaking, to make an impact. So it's worth embracing those challenging moments to see how you can gain from that in a way that shifts your mindset to open up to what's possible. And so, then you get to that point where you can surrender and be ready to receive that next level of you. And of course, together we can definitely elevate and evolve. So those particular mistakes with manifesting, definitely worth considering, definitely worth tapping into the strategies that actually do work with manifesting, because it is a personal journey about who you are becoming and being able to radiate that confidence so that you can help other people do the same thing for themselves. Your intuition is radiant. It wants you to shine its guiding light to assist others. It'll send you the feathers, it'll send you the money, whatever you want, but you have to come into alignment to meet it where it's at. So, happy manifesting. I'm Claire Chancellor, and I will talk to you later.